Energon Megatron had two molds within the American toy line, the Super or Leader class figure, which never hit shelves in Japan. Instead, Takara produced a downsized version that was later released in the US as part of a Toys R Us exclusive 2-pack with a deluxe Optimus Prime. I would have bought the Takara Galvatron General Redeco, but to call it scarce and/or unaffordable is an understatement. After being a tank in Armada, the big bad returns in the sequel as a Cybertronian jet. And let me tell you, this ranks up there with Cybertron Sideways as one of my favourite Unicron Trilogy alt modes. I just love the design of this thing, the hulking jet engines, sharp gull-wing configuration, and, well, the phrase loaded with personality tends to be thrown around a lot, but between the narrow cockpit window and the black, angry unibrow-shaped paint app above, yeah, that's a death glare. Even in jet mode, you feel Megatron's wrath. To say nothing of how heavily armed he is. In addition to the giant twin cannons which pivot up and down, you have a trio of tiny guns molded on both sides of the nose, blasters at the wingtips, and at each wing joint you have either twin miniguns or a rocket. The best part? There's more firepower to come. The colours on the downsized Megatron better match the anime compared to the larger version, including, but not limited to, a lighter grey, brighter blue, and the translucent plastic is now lime green as opposed to blue-green. I don't mind either deco, but if you're into show accuracy, this one wins straight up. To further connect Energon to its prequel show, a few of the toys have minicom pegs. Both Megatrons sport one at each wingtip, as well as 4 on the rear platform. This specific quartet is actually intended for a certain accessory also shrunk from the larger toy. Presenting the Tank Drone. Looks familiar, doesn't it? While not an exact copy of his Armada tank body, the back end is solid for one. It features many of the same molded details, now with extra sculpted wear and tear, some of it painted a nice metallic green. There's also this flip-out targeting reticle, though it makes more sense to use this in robot mode. It even has that same minicom peg on the disc at the back of the turret. I like TJ's idea of the drone being the Armada form's carcass, now utilized as a weapon. Kinda hardcore in a way. The tank drone also has sounds, which I can't show off since the battery compartment's rusty, so replacing the batteries did nothing for me. But I've heard them in other videos, and I'm at least aware that they're different from the larger drones. Firing the missile would result in a single gunfire blast. The other sound I'll discuss in robot mode. For now, we'll plug the drone onto those 4 pegs, then raise Megatron's outer wings, which leads to an automorph that deploys blue guns and extends the green inner wings. Here we have Megatron in his hyper mode, a recurring theme with Energon Decepticons. Think of these modes as half transformations with a ton of armament. Megatron's is best described as highly impractical, but still pretty awesome. Oh, and he has working landing gear. Here's where I know I have the Hasbro version, as the rear wheel struts are connected via plastic pins for safety, whereas Takara's uses steel pins. Megatron's transformation is at least 50% automorph. Pull out the feet and they spring open, plus the thrusters and landing gear slide forward. Unfold the legs and the hands pop out. Pull out one arm and the other follows suit. Even when going back into jet mode, collapsing the feet causes the thrusters to slide and spring back into place. Energon Megatron's robot mode. Wait, we sure this is Megs here? Cause this looks an awful lot like G1 Galvatron, design-wise. Well, yes and no. In America, Armada Megatron became Galvatron via his new color scheme. Armor enhancement. He sacrificed himself in the finale, only to return in this new form as Megatron in Energon, and then became Galvatron again via his new color scheme. Super Energon absorption. In Japan, Megatron stays Megatron throughout Armada, or Micron Legend as the show's known over there. It's only when revived in Energon, or Superlink, that he becomes Galvatron, and the name sticks. You can see the resemblance to G1 Galvatron with the chunky lower legs, hexagonal kneecaps, abdominal squares. Even the twin shoulder cannons evoke Galvatron's signature particle cannon. Last but not least is the head sculpt, only this time the crest, headband and horns are coloured separately, as if he's actually wearing a crown. More subtle are the two design traits that arguably establish this as an evolution of his Armada body: the horns, though they're much smaller, and the tall shoulder pads, now formed from the twin cannons, which can aim forward if the look bothers you. The ports on both shoulders, the left of which has a spark crystal within, are compatible with the green Energon stars available with the basic or Energon class Terracons, like Dive Bomb. While you can display Megatron in hyper mode, the guns aren't much use here. Instead, the tank drone clips on either arm, preferably the right, resulting in the most unwieldy cannon of all time. For his other weapon, plug the drone into the backpack, or scabbard, press the blue button, remove the drone, and we have Megatron's sword. Still unwieldy. What's cool is that touching the blade would result in a clashing sound. Less cool is that a red LED simultaneously lights up. A red LED in a translucent green sword. Seriously, if you want a translucent blade to properly light up, don't you need to, use a matching LED color or something? Energon Megatron loses some articulation from his Armada toy, but gains new joints elsewhere. The head and forearms are on swivels, the rest of his joints are ratchets. The shoulders move back and forth and splay outwards, and the elbows bend just shy of 90 degrees. And yes, the wings can fold back to accommodate arm posability. Neither wrist rotates this time, and nor does the waist. However, his hips can actually move forward and back, not just outwards. And his knees bend! It's kinda sad that that's something to be celebrated, but hey, it's cool that it's there. These exact same joints can also be found on the Leader class Megatron. The Decepticons are generally considered one of the saving graces of the Energon toy line, since they lack the power linksing gimmick that consumes most of the Deluxe and Mega Autobots as action figures. And while I haven't experienced many of them thus far, I'll be damned if the downsized Megatron isn't one of the highlights. Dynamic design, good posability for the time, and though he lacks the numerous fun gimmicks of his Armada figure, he still has some tricks up his sleeve, or I guess in this case, on his sleeve. Overall, this gets a gold, as I'm sure the larger version would, and I look forward to the day in which I can get a hold of the Galvatron repaint of the Leader class Megatron.